Welcome to Launch Stories. We're all about connecting and educating entrepreneurs, and Studio C at Cowork Chilliwack is located on the traditional and unceded territory of the Stalo people. We are thankful to be able to live, work, and create in this beautiful area. Thanks to our sponsors for helping us put these monthly events on, the Chilliwack Economic Partners, the Chilliwack Innovation Network, and the Chilliwack Chamber of Commerce. Thank you. And thanks to our partners for organizing Launch Stories every month, Cowork Chilliwack, Currency Marketing, and Zynum Ventures. And special thanks to Aidan McAlpine for running all of the AV equipment and recording the show tonight. No relation, just have the same last name. So thank you, Aidan. And you can see him up there, you probably did momentarily. Today we're talking architectural design and knowing when it's time to make your side hustle the main thing with Hudson Bronson, the founder of Bronson Design. At this point, I usually invite my guest out to the stage, but I found this amazing video on the Bronson Design website, and we're going to play a little bit of it just to get a flavor for what this company is and who Hudson is. So.
Home really needs to kind of be a nest for people, for them to be able to feel comfortable. Every home we do is very unique to the client. We launched the company in 2014. A few years later, we got our chance at a custom home, and that home later went on to become a Georgie Finalist. Maybe it's just because I love coffee, but I'm going to probably start in a coffee shop. I love the atmosphere. I love the vibe. There's a good energy going on there. And so between that and just sitting down with a sketch pad and starting to let the ideas flow, sketching is one of the core things that we like to start with when we begin a design. Getting the ideas down on paper, trying out different concepts. Principles for starting new homes and what leads us further into the project. We like to break them into 3 different steps or stages. We start with a layout, which involves us coming to site, walking around with the clients and seeing, kind of trying to capture their vision for how they want the house to sit on the property, what we want to take advantage of. At the same time, we'll be doing some research on rules and bylaws around their home, and then from there we start our layouts and take off from there. The second stage is an exterior stage, and this is kind of the funner part for clients. So we get to, really get into, I call it raising the roof, but we get to take everything we've built and put it into a 3D program. We get to spin it all around. We get to see all the different things that are going on there, and clients really engage with that well. It's fun to get to see your house for the first time, turning around and seeing all the different angles. People start to imagine themselves living there. And the final one, once we've kind of wrapped up our exterior, we end up doing detailed drawings. So we prep the drawings for construction and for permit, and then from there it's submitted off to the city and hopefully gets built.
Hudson, come on out. Please give a warm Launch Stories welcome.
All right. Thanks for having me, Tim.
Absolutely. Put you in the hot seat. So that video gave us a taste of what you do and your team. But one question right off the bat, just for semantics and to get everybody level set. Mm-hmm. You are an architectural designer. What's the difference between an architectural designer and an architect?
Ooh, so we're almost an archectival designer. I don't want to get in trouble.
Okay.
So building designer.
Building designer. Got it.
So building designer. So main difference primarily is usually has to do with liability. That's the not fun part. I'm not going to hold liability for the home. A builder's going to hold liability. Also, probably about a third the price. So I mean, that's the more tangible difference for sure. And I won't be designing your forks within the home. So, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
But for all intents and purposes, you're doing a very similar job, beautiful designs, and taking it to a level of completion and handing it off.
Yeah, for sure. So we still putting together a full build package for the home, full design package that people build these dream homes from and live in, and yeah, it's the full package kind of thing. Just not maybe the extra layers of bureaucracy and administration. So
got it.
Yeah.
So that sets the level.
Sets the
but I do want to step back in time and go back to young Hudson. Where did you grow up?
Grew up in Abbotsford.
Okay.
Yeah, grew up in Abbotsford. Family of 5, and family was always building something somewhere. So I was always tagging along and coming along for the ride and watching how homes go up and listening to decisions and seeing what was happening. And that, it must have kind of stuck a little bit. It clearly did a little bit. So, just kind of following in those footsteps and getting to be part of a building and design, and it just feels like it's part of the blood a little bit. So
got it.
Yeah.
And I understand your dad was an entrepreneur.
Yeah, that's right. So he was a lawyer, and when he was not wanting to do lawyering and was a little bit bored, he would be taking on various projects for the family, or just to build and kind of flip at some point.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was that all residential, or a mix of residential, commercial, or?
Mostly residential.
Okay.
Yeah, primarily residential, and kind of dreaming about different things that could happen and how to take some ugly home and make it beautiful and so it was fun to be part of that and tag along. I may not have said that back then, but
got it.
Yeah, in hindsight it was good. So
and so going through high school, were you involved in any, did they offer drafting or any kind of home design?
They did. So we had a little drafting program.
Okay.
With a program I don't even know what it was called anymore. It was like it was a bit better than Microsoft Paint, primarily. Yeah. And they made us draw, various mechanical bits, and that was about it. But it was still, kind of scratching the surface. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
And did you then go straight into UFV for drafting and design out of high school?
Right out of high school. I missed the deadline, unfortunately, initially, and so I wasn't sure what to do. And then they opened up the program. There was a February start, so I was like, okay, cool, we'll do that. But they said you have to go back to high school, because that's where the program's out of.
Okay.
So, anyways, we did that and ended up meeting my wife, which was great. So,
wow.
Yeah. So it turned out it was okay. I'm glad I missed that September start for the university part of it, but same program, just in different locations. So,
and just let's stop there for a second.
Okay, sorry.
Was your wife taking drafting as well, or
she was in grade 12. I was 1 year out.
Okay.
Yeah. So on break time,
got it.
She was there, and anyways, it turned.
So you're like this cool graduate that had that aura about you, that she was like, "Who's that guy?"
Yeah, I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So.
And so, what did you learn during that course?
Yeah, so the course was good. The idea behind the course was it was a spectrum of different topics to cover, from engineering to civil to general drafting. Hand drawing was a big component of it initially, but just understanding how houses come together, a very practical sense of what works and what doesn't work. It wasn't necessarily so much design focused on like, hey, this looks good and this doesn't look good. It was just kind of like, hey, let's prepare you for the industry, and if you want to branch out, you can. So that was kind of the outline for it.
And I went to UFV for graphic design, and there was a cohort of, I think, 30 of us that graduated, and I found many of these things, many people will go into it because it's, wow, that's cool, I want to do this.
Yeah.
But there's not an absolute ton of opportunity coming out of it. Have you followed your cohort, and how many are working in the industry?
None. I was the only one.
Okay.
There was a few for a little while, but most just kind of fell off. A lot of people, I came out in the industry during the recession, so there wasn't a lot of jobs to begin with. But talking to business owners and other people, they said, hey, you took the wrong program. They said, we don't hire out of UFV. And I was like, oh my goodness. But a few people said, go get practical experience, go frame, and then see what happens. And so I thought, sure, we'll do that.
Yeah. So you were graduated in 2008.
Yeah,
and then
that's right.
I scoped your LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, that's good.
What's interesting is all of the past work experience, I could not find logos for. So I've come to the conclusion that when you left all of these companies, they were in complete disarray and could not survive.
Without putting walls up. I mean, who else is going to do it? So, no, yeah.
I know Epic Trust was part of a big merger apparently,
Yes.
and became.
They're Alliance Trust now.
That's right.
Yeah, so
Yes.
did a few months with them, and then the recession hit hard there too. And I was first on the chopping block as a new guy. So
Got it.
Yeah, but really good experience though, nonetheless.
And you did some framing, which was maybe not the love of your life.
Not the love of my life. Found out. Well, I didn't find out I was afraid of heights there, but
Okay.
but not optimal. So yeah, no, try not to fall off walking walls 4 inches in the 10 feet in the air or 20 feet in the air is just not what I'm interested in. So I get nervous walking the balcony upstairs and looking over, and
Right.
it's just like, oh, okay, let's not do
And
that.
so in that time, I imagine you're applying to work at a firm that needs your services.
I dropped off a bunch of resumes, and at some point I'd resign myself to the market's not great, probably not going to get a job here. I'll still drop some resumes off, but I thought I'll just do framing. That's what will happen. Then I got a call one cold winter day, and company that didn't even remember. It wasn't really on my radar. Points West Architecture, and I thought, oh, okay, cool. We'll go see. So I wasn't even taking it seriously at that time. I went into that interview wearing my dirty work boots. I just went straight from job site to there, and I thought, well, we'll just see what happens. And they offered me a position, like, do you want to work inside? And I was like, well, yeah, kind of. It's not, I don't want to be in the cold. My hands are freezing all the time. And and I took the job.
Wow.
So yeah, I told my employer at the time, and he was disappointed because we had a different route planned. So yeah.
And tell me about this firm. How many employees were there?
Yeah, there was, I think, 6 or 7 of us.
That's a nice size.
Yeah, it was good. It was like a small little group, small little family. There wasn't really such a thing as turnover there. I was basically like the third or fourth hire outside of the main partners. So I worked there with them for 10 years. It was fantastic. So yeah, learned lots.
And they were acquired, were they not?
2020,
Okay.
late 2019, 2020, and they merged with Station One.
Right.
Yeah.
And Station One is a local Chilliwack firm that used to be Craven Houston Powers
Craven Houston
Architect.
Powers, that's right. And then during the merger, a new name was necessary. So Station One was the new name for the joint company.
Got it.
Yeah.
And so what I found interesting is, again, scoping out your LinkedIn profile, was there was some overlap. You started what would now be known as a side hustle, but doing some side projects.
Yeah.
And in some companies, that's frowned upon, but it was okay with your boss to be doing that?
Initially, I didn't tell him.
Okay.
I thought it was a small little thing. I needed a few $100 extra just to kind of make ends meet. And I thought, well, I'm just going to do it. So I went forward, and the drafter, or I should say the designer at the time, thought, this is working good. You want to draft for me some more? I thought, well, yeah. He's like, you need to talk to your boss about this. They were friends, the two of them, so that was good. And so I chatted with my boss, and he said, that's fine. I don't care. Go ahead. And in fact, use our printer if you want. Print drawings out. And I was like, well, okay, sure. He says, just don't let it interfere with work. We were primarily doing condos at that time, multifamily projects. So doing some design for homes and custom homes was a completely different market, and they didn't mind it. So
I think there's a lesson there in that many people will be in whatever situation, and they're maybe fed up with their job, and they have this moment where they're just, I'm not going into work, I'm quitting, and I'm jumping into my own career, but doing it on the side and seeing, is this thing going to grow? Am I getting referrals? How's this working?
Yeah.
Do I like it?
Yeah, exactly.
All of that.
Yeah.
You were in a pretty sweet situation there.
Exactly. We were in a really good situation. Didn't have to leave work, would moonlight, when I needed to. Wife, I don't think loved it. But it did help, to kind of suss things out a little bit.
And based on your timing, so far you finished college in a recession.
Yeah.
And then you decided to leave your position as a worldwide pandemic was starting.
Right. Yeah. Well, that was
Or was it right before that?
It was exactly. It was right before, a few months before. It was sort of I didn't have a choice really. I was kind of offered, you have to cut the company. And I was offered a slight raise, but it wasn't anything that was significant. It wouldn't cover the loss of the company. And I thought, I'm not sure about this. So I just said, no, I'm not coming with the merger. Thought, what am I doing? I remember going to the gym later that day after basically quitting and going, this was probably the stupidest thing I ever did. I just gave up a senior position. I guess we'll see what happens. And then COVID hit, and I thought, well, now I'm hooped for sure. But that was probably the best thing in hindsight. People are sitting at home and going, I don't like the pink walls in my home. I need a new home. So they did. They came calling, let's build a new home. Okay, great. So we were there and ready, and it was perfect timing. So. And
you're talking about we, like right off the bat. Was there more than just you, or was it the collective we?
It's probably the collective we, although I did take one of our guys pretty quickly. Within 6 months, he wasn't happy with the merger either. So I said, do you want to come work with me? And he's not sure. So he worked with me for probably 3 or 4 years after that. So.
And I'm doing the math. You've got a couple young kids here. They were probably born maybe right around then or right after then?
Just before then. So COVID was 2020. Kids were born in 15 and 16, more or less. And so they're, 4 or 5. So
got it.
Yeah.
So what did that conversation look like at home?
It was hard. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think I was really worn out from that position. I think I realized, that Christmas, as we all went home for break, I went, I don't think I can go back to doing a lot of this, because it was. I mean, the work is design work, but a lot of it's just kind of working with cities and constantly responding and answering deficiency requests and whatnot. So,
and I imagine you were getting perhaps more satisfaction from this design work you were doing, and having that one-on-one interaction with the people,
a client.
For sure.
You see happy people that are excited about something, and the project takes 3 months to 6 months versus 5 years. I mean, it's hard to say no to that. So,
and you talk about people were wanting to build a house, but how were they finding you at that point?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think just word of mouth. I was well networked with the company we were with. Like a lot of our developers that we worked with previously at Points West, I would work with. And so when COVID hit, they wanted homes too. So they came calling. We were in a good position. We were quite affordable at that point, and happy to draw homes for them. So it was a natural fit at that time. So they kept us going for those first couple of years. So yeah.
So your positioning statement on your website is, we design custom homes that reflect your story, from forever homes to family cabins, country homesteads to lakeside cottages.
Yeah.
So these are not cookie cutter BC boxes. These are high-end
customs. Yeah.
Customs.
Yeah. And I think it's they're dream homes for people, probably some of the largest investments people are making. So they're, the wish lists are extensive. The dreams and the vision they're fantastic. And it's fun to walk alongside people and get to, design with them and work with them and put it all together. So
I grabbed a couple projects off your website.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say off our desk. I was like, well, it's possible too.
I've been sneaking around and this one in particular, known as the Lake House, was, I think, really put you on the map. You mentioned that a project was up for the Georgie Awards. And what are the Georgie Awards for those uninitiated? So
they're essentially, it's like an excellence award for, if you can put if it's like a top project under a certain dollar value. And so we submitted this house. This was this was technically our first full independent custom at the time. So this was 2016 we started this. So drew this, and then, we kind of started marketing it a little bit, and they threw it in for the Georgie Awards, and lo and behold, became a finalist right away. And I thought, well, that's pretty good for house one. And, so other people,
no kidding.
Yeah. So other people started calling, and the calls just didn't stop after that. So we were just happy to keep drawing for people.
I don't need a street address, but what city is this in?
This is in Hope. So this is on Quacoa Lake.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that probably narrows it down significantly. But there's only so many addresses around that lake, but beautiful lake.
Like, how is this your first big project? Because it's beautiful and enormous, and there's obviously a lot of trust.
Yeah.
They're coming to you. Hudson, this is all on you.
Yeah.
You cannot screw up. We're investing heavily.
Yeah. Well, okay. So surprisingly, this is a family project.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
This is a family project. So, Dad said, "Hey, we want to do a family project out on the lake. It's been, we want to have something close to home, and something that reflects us and that he's happy with and whatnot." So
That's almost more pressure.
well, it was because at first he was like, "Are you sure you can draw all this?" And I said, "Of course I can draw this," and well, we did. Very, came together quite well. But it's hard. Yeah, it's a risk for him for my dad to put this together and have trusted me through the process. But we sat down for many hours and many evenings, constantly rotating the drawings around and stretching different 3D components and seeing what it would look like. And after a few hundred hours, this is what we ended up with. So yeah.
And something like this, I'm not an expert, but
Yeah.
I'm thinking there has to be other partners, engineers.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot
That's right.
of structural stuff to make sure this doesn't slide into the lake.
Well, yeah, right. I mean, the code does provide options for you to size your own structural elements, and that's not something we want to do. I don't want anyone's house to fall down. So,
Got it.
So we usually engage a structural engineer, usually when we're about midway through the design, and then they work with us and put it all together. It's honestly, it's amazing. Like I don't know how it doesn't all just fall down to. Like, how do you consider every little tiny element in there? It's remarkable. So
We'll cut that out.
yeah. Thank you. No, but seriously, I mean, the work that they do.
No, we won't. That'll actually be a
good.
repeating short on YouTube. I have no idea.
I have no idea how that happens. Yeah. No. Yeah. So it's fascinating.
So do you get to spend some time here?
For lucky.
Okay.
Yeah, we try to every once in a while get out there. Summer for sure. That's
Wow.
that's the time we get to spend some
Yeah,
time
it's
out
beautiful.
there.
Now, I'm not sure if this next one is an actual project or
A concept or something.
concept,
Yeah,
but let's take a peek.
Let's see. Yes, this is real.
Okay.
And this is well under construction right now.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so what's fascinating is these are not this is not your father's Oldsmobile or whatever. These are full-on rendered
Right.
illustrations.
Yeah.
And especially with all of the 3D. And so that's a fairly recent advent. I
Yeah.
would say within the last couple of decades.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, before any of this, you would just provide just a blank 2D elevation.
Right.
You'd never get to see your house kind of in this kind of detail and format. So,
And I would imagine some clients are looking at a 2D elevation and really having trouble with it.
yeah.
Unless you have some aptitude for reading and understanding and
Yeah.
what's my kitchen going to actually feel like, all of that,
That's
right?
exactly right. I mean, you never see a house from head on. There's no such thing as like, yeah, I can see it exactly
Right.
like the 2D elevation shows. I mean, we were limited with that. I mean, you could always hire, I guess, an illustrator to put it all together. They could have hired you maybe. Mm-hmm. Anyways,
Maybe.
yeah, but having rendering tools where you can fly around the whole house and see it all in real time, I guess, as it were.
So without getting too nerdy, what software is this?
This is Lumion.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other one is an Autodesk product.
Yeah.
Revit?
We pair it with Revit. So Revit,
Okay.
we build our projects, and then we pair it with our Lumion, and then it can spit this kind of stuff out. So.
And it's not cheap. I did a quick search of Autodesk, and
Yeah.
it's like thousands a year.
Yeah, so it's like to run just like one seat of each combined, it's probably getting close to 7,000 or 8,000. So when you add a few people to your team, the subscriptions add up, and those are just a couple of the subscriptions we have to run at the same time. So
I imagine that's one of your bigger expenses.
Yeah.
is the technology and software. And,
yeah.
But yeah, this is beautiful, and it really gives you a sense of, okay, this is what we're going to be living in.
Yeah, right.
And you had a bunch of them, but I just grabbed 3 of them. But
That's good.
And then you also have some walkthroughs and spinning and all of that. But
Yeah. we try to capture a few different angles. I mean, one of the fun parts, I think that one of the fun parts is we take our plans and we go out to a studio in Burnaby, and they'll project our floor plans onto the ground at a 1-to-1 scale. So we get to walk them with our clients, and they put different props up and little walls and tubs and little kitchens, and you kind of get to walk your plan essentially ahead of time. So. Yeah, it's fun. We try to make it as interactive for people as possible. I mean, if you're going to be spending millions of dollars on a house, I don't see why you wouldn't want to do this kind of thing. So, yeah.
And so we can clearly see that you and your team can design well.
We try, yeah.
But you're kind of forced into business. You're doing it as a side hustle. But then there's running a business.
Yeah.
Like, how are you doing that? And I imagine I'll pull up this page.
Yeah.
Your team now consists of the four of you.
These lovely people here are what make it possible. They have to put up with me mostly. So they would probably call me a little bit chaotic, but Karsten's our project manager, so he's taking care of a lot of our just making sure everything is happening that needs to be happening, that the design is coming together as it needs to, that we're not missing elements that need to go into the city at some point, and keeping people happy. So
full disclosure, you have an office here at Cowork Chilliwack, and Karsten is working twice as much as you, I'm sure.
I know. Don't say that. I'm gonna have to pay him more.
But on that note, you started home-based, and then you're based in Abbotsford. You've got some of these folks live in Chilliwack. You made the jump at some point. We're going to look for office space and ended up here.
Yeah.
Walk me through that
process.
Yeah, of being home-based, maybe working remote. There was coffee shops in the video and so forth.
Yeah. How did that all happen? Coffee shops are good. I love coffee shops. Sitting there drawing, that's fantastic. When we were a smaller team and it was just, myself and one other person, it was fine to just do from home. You meet clients at a coffee shop, you'd work at home. It was good. But as we've grown, it doesn't work to be apart. So we found the need pretty quickly to have a space. And I tried in the garage, like every other person seems to do, and it only worked for so long. So no windows. It's not a very hopeful environment. And I was like, okay, we need to do something else here. We can't meet at a coffee shop. They're going to kick us out. And,
I was thinking about that with you have these enormous plans.
Yeah, we'd take up tables sometimes, and we'd have to keep ordering enough food to justify it, because I didn't want to look that bad. But I know at some point we thought we need a spot, and most of my team's out here in Chilliwack, and I thought, I'm with clients all over the place most of the time, but it makes sense for our home base probably to be here. So threw it in Google, and lo and behold, Cowork Chilliwack popped up, and we're like, great.
SEO.
Yeah, it's working. So you're doing something right, eh?
Nice.
Called, and Rebecca answered and said, hey, we have a large office. And I thought, pfft. She says, we never have large offices. They're always taken. She says, and it's available next month. And I thought, you can't, this is meant to be. So I said, okay, we'll come in, we'll take a tour. And we went out to talk about it for about an hour, and then called back and said, let's take it. So yeah, It's been good. It's been really good. So.
And Ruth is remote.
Ruth is remote. Yeah. She used to work with me at the other company from a long time ago. So I've worked with her for a long time. She's wonderful. She's a really good office mom and handles bookkeeping and administration and clients. And I wish she was out here. She's in Alberta.
Okay.
And she still does those things, but we don't need an on the ground. We don't need someone on the ground for the most part right here. So.
And for half the year now, you'll be in the same time zone.
Is that right? Is that how it is the same time zone now? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll maybe ask her to start.
We'll see. Yeah. We'll see. There seems to be some debate on whether they made the right choice or not. So.
I know. It is pretty dark in the morning right now, but.
You seem like you have a really positive culture and pretty laid back group.
Yeah.
How have you been able to establish that?
I can't take things seriously. So if there's no jokes happening, it's just it's just part of who I am. I'm not going to be a tremendously serious person. So I used to force Karsten to, add jokes to his timesheet at the end of the day or whatever. And it makes a fun environment. Serious environments are okay, but I don't think anyone tremendously loves them that much. If you're having a good time at work, you'll probably do better work. And I think it's probably that simple. So,
And back to the business piece of it, pricing. How do you figure out pricing?
oh, that's a hard one. Pricing is always kind of moving around and trying to figure out a target of, what do we price our drawings at has been hard. Like we started out for when we were doing projects a little bit more in hope, we couldn't ask for much. So we were doing like $1 to $2 a square foot back then, which doesn't cover your expenses. And then as we've grown, once we realize we're out of money, we're like, oh, we need to be charging more for our projects. This just isn't working. So it's largely come out of necessity, to keep things flowing and to earn a reasonable income. We have to set a reasonable price. So, yeah. I wish there was a sheet that could say, what are all the other high-end custom homes making? Because I really don't know entirely. I have an idea probably what they're making, but
You should get your kids to do some mystery shopping.
Hi.
Yeah. I'm looking for
I'd like a custom home.
I'm sure someone's done that to us before too. So yeah.
We touched on it a little bit, but tools are super important, and just once you're on your own, you're not in school, you're not leaning on instructors and so forth, and tools are constantly changing.
Yeah.
How do you keep abreast, and how do you keep learning and so forth?
YouTube.
Yeah.
Honestly, probably learned most of how to use the program, like Revit. It came out, well, it's been out for a long time, but had to mostly learn from YouTube. There was a little course at one point at UFV, but it was for a couple months. So it's not really going to cut it on a program that is as large as Revit. So yeah, trial and error, asking questions, but primarily just watching videos online is how we've figured it out.
And I imagine with 3 designers, you guys are
we learn things from each other, all the time. Like, what did you just do? I remember I ask questions sometimes, like, I didn't know you could do that. I've been doing it this way my whole life. That would have saved me so much time, and vice versa. We'll make fun of each other a little bit for things we don't know. So
now you're in a particular niche. It's high end. It's custom. It's craftsman. But AI's got to be on your mind.
Yeah.
Like, are you using it?
No.
Are you using it in any facet of your business, like
No.
writing that nasty email to get paid or whatever, right?
Not really. No, I mean, it's really personal for what we do. I know it's going to come. AI is going to come, and it's going to take a lot of. I think it's going to draw houses at some point. I don't love it. I don't think that's really fair to our clients. If they came to us and they said, "Hey, we want you to draw our house," for me to input, hey, draw a house with a kitchen, dining, living room, 4 bedrooms, needs to look like this, it feels like a disservice. I'm sure they can hire someone to do that, but I'm not tremendously interested in it. So even emails, the dead giveaway is the hyphen in the emails.
Right.
That one came from AI. So no, it has to be personal. I think that's just more kind of resonates with what I believe. So
Yeah, but I would imagine some of the components of the software you're using are relying somewhat on machine learning and so forth. Like, I use Photoshop on a regular basis, and there are tools in there now that are wild. Right? That if you just need to, someone gives you a close crop photo and you need to expand it and it'll draw some more hair or whatever, right? Just, are there any certain things like that can?
So there are tools, but we don't. Yeah, so
I'm not going to get you to confess that you're using AI.
I swear we don't use any of them. I don't know how to use Photoshop actually.
Okay,
so the 2 tools, the only 2 tools that I use are primarily Revit and Lumion, and neither of them have any AI capability at the moment. I imagine they will in time. Like, I imagine at one point you can actually ask it to dimension your house properly, and I'd be interested in that because that would save a little bit of time. But,
right.
But until then, there's not a lot to do. Our clients, though, they do bring us a lot of AI images. They're like, hey, we love this house. Can you draw this house for us? And like, well, we probably could. So that's probably as close to AI as we're getting at the moment.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Everybody's a designer, especially when it's somebody coming with their dream home, their forever home.
They say, hey, what about this?
What
Can you
about
do
this?
Yeah.
Like, how do you navigate that?
Yeah. So that's okay. I don't mind if someone's bringing in an AI image. I mean, if this aligns closely with what you think looks great and this excites you, it's like, we understand your vibe. We'll try to emulate something like this in your drawings.
Well, not even an AI, for example.
Yeah.
I know there's tools like house.com.
Yeah, house.com, which is one.
People put together like a mood board of different things they like. Pinterest.
Yeah, Pinterest is a really good one.
Is that stuff helpful?
Absolutely, yeah. Pinterest boards are probably our main go-to. They can really get out of control quickly because you spend half an hour on it, and all of a sudden you have 100 pins, and then we get a board that somebody says, here's our pins, and I'm like, I don't know, what do you want from all these 100 pins? Like, what was the special feature in each one? So we have to narrow it down for our clients a little bit, get them to focus on what the ones they like. So yeah.
And I would guess if you took all those 100 pins and put it together, you'd end up with a Frankenhouse.
Yeah.
So you've got to navigate that and have taste and make decisions.
So we limit people. We say, hey, look, if you can, just give us 5 of your favorite photos that you think capture what you're looking for, and then let us work with the rest. So
how do you manage scope creep? For example, maybe you don't. Maybe you're like every designer and you just sort of suck it up and. But is there a way that in my initial contract we're going to do 3 concepts and 4 revisions or something like that? Is it, and then beyond that it's hourly, or I don't know.
We're not good at it. Our goal, we try to, like, if a client says, hey, we want to see this option. I mean, I get excited about their house and their project, and I go, okay, I want to see this option too. So let's put it together. Or if we want changes near the end, and my team is not going to appreciate that I say this, but I'll say, yeah, let's see what this is like. So we'll entertain clients scope creep quite a bit.
Designers are the worst. If you have a broken sump pump, kind of personal because it happened on the weekend, and you phone the plumber, there's going to be the truck charge and this charge and this charge, and you're going to get a itemized bill for every single thing, and you're going to go like, holy cow.
Yeah.
But they're not going to cut you a deal because they want to see the artistic direction of how we can improve this, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't like nickel and dimey people, so we try to keep it all into just one fixed fee. If it gets really out of control, like I have to draw a whole new house and we're done. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to have a conversation, but we'll entertain lots of ideas. I mean, ultimately, I want to give people a really good product. I want them to have the house that they love. I mean, this is going to be millions of dollars, and
rather than me asking you, tell me a horror story. What was the worst client?
Yeah.
Tell me like an amazing story. Like you went into this project, and it obviously the one for your parents might have been a horror story, but it turned out just beautiful.
It was good. I mean, we did.
But is there another one that you're just so pleased with how it's turned out? And
I think the one that stands out is probably the Maison Coco one that you just had up a moment ago. So we were approached probably about a year ago now, I guess, and I said, hey, this is kind of our vision. We want to do a French country kind of home, and we just went to France, and this is we're excited about this. So it was a really fun time working with them on it, getting to collaborate with them on drawing the little different versions of what the front was going to look like. Do we want to do a 4-tier window system or a 3-tier window system? It was probably one of the most enjoyable jobs that we've ever that we've had the pleasure to work on. So.
And in that case, they're coming and saying we're inspired by the French style.
Yeah.
It's maybe not something you're totally familiar with. Do you dive in and like learn what that looks like?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, pictures, as soon as someone brings a picture, it's kind of like the vibe usually clicks pretty quick. So, we see what they're after and we go, oh, okay, yeah, like we get that. So we pull more pictures out and, kind of test them a little bit, say, what about this? What about this one? And you kind of narrow it down and you say, okay, I think we've got a good, some good direction. It can ebb and flow a little bit. We might not get it perfect the first time, and that's not unusual. But we'll be pretty close, and it's a custom home. It has to reflect them, and we end up working on it, getting there with them. So,
and if you're being briefed on a project and they're saying, we have a $3 million budget.
Yeah.
How are you able to know that what you're developing can be done within that budget? Is the builder involved right off the bat, ideally, or what does that look like?
Preferably, if we can get a builder on board right off the bat, I mean, it's just going to be good for everyone. You know, I don't know what an honest square foot cost is going to be everywhere. If I was building in Hope, the price is going to be cheaper. If I'm building in Langley and then getting close to Vancouver or Whistler, it's just going to keep going up and up. And it varies. It depends on, you know, people's preferences and finish styles. So having the builder kind of, you know, set the initial square foot cost for the home is really, really helpful and important. We can draw a house. Like we'll draw, you know, you can tell me, the client can tell me, we'll build it for $350 a square foot. I don't think you will be able to, but if I'm ordered to draw the house, I mean, I'm going to unfortunately have to draw it that size. The builder's going to come along and say, we can't build it. Having the builder is really, really important, I think, for those instances.
And then there's likely an interior designer involved as well. And
yeah,
you can spend a lot of money there.
You can spend a lot of money there. Yeah, and I mean, you can go wild with. I mean, interior designers have access to so many cool materials, and
right.
I mean, they dream big, and they've got lots of neat ideas to kind of display. So, yeah, they spend usually twice as much time on a house as we do. So you can take our fee and sort of double it usually for an interior designer. Yeah.
Where are you headed? What's your ideal size of company?
Yeah.
Are you going to be 40 people and just dominating the Fraser Valley, or is 4 a perfect size?
If I looked back in grade 9 and looked at my old, what do you want your company to look? I would have said for sure a large company. Probably not a large company. Maybe half a dozen. 6 to 8 people would probably be ideal for a company size. We want to stay on top of all of our projects. We want to, I want to be present in each one and adding fine details and touch to each one of them. So, 6 to 8 I think is manageable. After that, I've heard that it gets a little bit unruly. I want to enjoy going into the office. I don't want to be like, oh no, got 15 people to handle and how many fires to put out. I mean, I don't think it's
how many people worked at your father's law firm?
Oh my goodness, 30 plus. Yeah, 30, 40 people, I think.
So you had a side view seat of that.
Yeah. And I mean, he talks about it fondly, but the other, he can also bring out the horror stories on how that went. So, and I can't imagine the payroll that would have taken to run that place. So, yeah.
What's next?
This year we're just going to aim to probably have a boring year. It's not a very sexy answer. It's just this year we want to kind of dial in our process and just make sure we're running on all cylinders and just enjoy the process and put good work out there. So
how many custom homes can you design in a year as your group?
Probably a dozen. Yeah, between the 4 of us, probably one on average a month. Yeah.
And where are these homes ending up? You've talked about Hope and Langley.
Yeah, Langley is the big one. Probably half of our homes end up in Langley. We probably a couple in Abbotsford. None in Chilliwack right now.
Like when you cut through South Langley and you look around and you go, wow, there's some big houses here.
They're everywhere out there. Yeah. So, I mean, people from Vancouver are moving to Langley. You get so much more when you deploy your cash out there, I suppose. Large acreages, estates, the township of Langley is probably one of the best municipalities to work with as far as building permits go and approvals. So people know that, and the pricing isn't terrible for trades out there either. Like it's expensive, but it's not going to be Vancouver expensive. So if you want a legacy project, most people are heading that way.
Okay, let's rank them. We've got Langley. That's the best.
Oh no, Township of Langley. Yeah, Township of Langley.
Okay,
and then Township of Langley. Yeah.
Got it. You don't need to say who's the worst, but Chilliwack's doing okay.
Chilliwack's okay. Yeah, they're in the middle probably. Yeah, we've had some really good projects with them, and then some other ones where I thought, man, there's a lot of nitpicking for some small things there.
Got it.
So it depends. Depends probably who you get as the plan checker. So yeah.
You mentioned it, but I did grab a screen grab of that. of that company, Plan Your
Plan Your
Space.
Space.
They're based in Burnaby.
Yep.
And so you can give them your floor plans and they'll project it to scale.
Yes.
And then sort of move around furniture and so forth.
Yeah. So that it's fun. Like they put your house down and we grab all the props and pull them out and walk around, and you can have some fun clients where they're gonna hop in the bathtub. They're gonna, anyways, I should probably stop before I get too far there. But anyways, it's fun. It's good to walk around and see what's really going to happen for your home.
So I couldn't remember the name of this company.
Yeah.
And I searched for floor plan projection Burnaby. And there's a couple knockoffs of this now.
Oh, is there really?
Yeah. You may want to shop around your next job.
Oh, no. Nope. So Plan Your Space, great company. And really nice warehouse. They very accommodating. I don't. People say it's expensive to do it, and it is expensive. However, if you're going to make changes on site, you're going to immediately spend more money for any kind of changes that you could have just figured out here. So, yeah. So I don't know. Shout out to Manny and his Plan Your Space.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Good guy. So.
Let's hear it for Hudson. We've got time for some Q&A. There is a mic there. Colin, if you could grab that. And we're going to start with Colin because he always has a good question that I missed for sure.
Thanks so much for sharing your story. It's honestly just awesome to hear about how you can pull these things together for your clients.
Yeah, thank you.
One of our assets that we have when we're hiring people as software developers is we have in our test this funny article that says if architects had to work like programmers.
Yeah.
And it's got all of these demands, right? And the thing is, as a programmer, you often get these things of, well, I want this button to do this, but I also want it to do that, and it needs to be this, and you just get these impossible requests.
Right.
And
Right.
So anyways, the whole point of this article is these ridiculous demands that architects could have. So I'd love to hear from you. What was without causing any shame on any particular client, what was the most hilariously impossible request you ever had to fathom?
We had what was verging on a small tower on, I won't say where, but it was on a mountain that was not possible. Really good client, just I think just unrealistic for a mountainside. So yeah. And so that was a bit of a hard discussion to, say, hey, thank you for this and for coming and bringing us your project. But this is not probably going to work up here. And I know that you've been dreaming about this for years. So that's a hard one to have with someone who thinks it should be possible. So yeah. Does that answer your question? Okay, good. Carson, you said you had all those questions.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hudson.
Yeah, you're welcome.
One of the things you mentioned earlier in terms of having the builders kind of align
Yes.
before coming.
Yeah.
Have you had experiences where usually the good builders, but sometimes you get builders that are not good builders?
Yeah.
And how does that how do you get in the middle of it, or how does that arise when you don't have a good builder?
So when you don't have a good builder, not to name any names, it's basically like just not having a builder. Essentially, what ends up happening, they get the job and they're just not present for any of it. And then when we finish the plans, we're including them in all the communication, and they go, "We can't build it for this." And you go, like, you've been part of this conversation the whole time. What do you mean? Like, you're just chiming in at the end. So, we've spent hundreds of hours on this project, and that's that's disappointing, I think, for everyone. And so, I don't know what they were doing during the whole time. So yeah, and we see that a little bit. Might turn into a redraw, but usually a disappointing client in the end. So.
I have a question I forgot to ask.
Yeah.
You've been getting largely word of mouth, but what has been other sources of marketing that have really worked for you?
Yeah, Instagram seems to be one of the big ones. We throw our houses up there, market them a little bit, and people find us on there quite a bit. So we'll get a message, hey, we're thinking about a custom home. Could we meet for coffee? So sure, we'd love to meet for coffee. Just want to
yeah, I would love to hear what you want to do. Whether or not it turns into a project, or maybe I can direct you to some others, or just help fill you in along the way. I take a little bit of time out of our weeks to connect with people and do that. So
Yeah, I can see that. You've got very Instagram-friendly imagery. And,
great, yeah.
And I imagine people are searching on Pinterest, but they're also searching on Instagram to find
Yeah.
local folks to do the work.
Doing a search and they find us, and maybe it's a bit of a referral from someone else, but Instagram, we get quite a bit through Instagram. So yeah.
Any other questions? Yes.
So since you started your business, if you were to look back on where you started, what's one thing that either you wish you had learned quicker, or one of the biggest lessons that you've learned, or you would tell someone else that was doing the exact same thing?
Good question. Probably one of the first things I would recommend to someone maybe coming into the industry is, if you can, try to get a bit of construction knowledge. I think builders quite often receive drawings that just aren't buildable. People go, what happened? Who drew this? I'm sure we've had this happen to date, too. But I think having that knowledge behind you kind of informs what's actually possible. And then I think builders really appreciate it. So then they trust you, and it just becomes a nice kind of referral system. Outside of that, maybe a little more confidence, just all around. That the design's going to be okay. That you don't need to stress over it for weeks on end. That this one little spot isn't going to work. It works. It was okay. Yeah.
Do you present one concept typically?
Yeah. Well, no, sorry, I shouldn't say that. We try to present a couple. We used to just do one, and I think a lot of people were left kind of going like, what else could we have? What else could there be? And we would, people got nervous and weren't sure if they wanted to, proceed with this particular design, or sometimes even with us. And so along the way, we thought we should probably provide a second option for people to consider. And I think we found that between a couple options, that are varying to very certain degrees, it provides what people are looking for, mostly. So we end up usually blending one of two options. That, or sometimes people will say, hey, we have an X amount of dollars for the house, but our wish list is this long, and these two things don't equal. So we might prepare a wish list design for them. Say, hey, this is everything in your wish list, but it's realistically probably too big for your house. And then we might do a second version that's a little bit toned down that says, hey, this is probably a lot more in line with what your budget's looking like. So.
And you've got a lot of really great projects on your website. Are they a mix of real and
every one of them is real except for one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I imagine over time, just like in college, you're doing a portfolio that's kind of theoretical work, and as you get real projects.
Yeah, then you can display them and put them up. And probably one of our biggest challenges has been like to get back to site at the end of a project and take pictures. People move into their homes and they're like, okay, we're done. And then trying to get a hold of them again and just like give them like, hey, can we get some pictures? They're not interested all the time. So part of it's us, part of it's them. And just a logistics problem. So,
Any other questions?
When are you guys building your custom homes? Yes, excellent.
Yeah, I got to start playing the lottery to win the lottery.
Yeah. That sounds good.
Well, let's hear it for Hudson.
Yeah,
thank you so much for your time and your launch story. It's really great.
Yeah, thank you.